And as much as I want to write this book, fitting it into a routine that I already feel safe and secure with is what's giving me anxiety, if that makes sense. Toni Morrison doesn't need to be my favorite in order for me to understand what she means to Black women, what she means to Black history, and what she means to literature. All right, the first sip of coffee is always the best. Hi, good morning, happy Sunday. Welcome to another vlog. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing. And of course, I would love for you to subscribe. It's Sunday, almost 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm usually up. I'm an early riser in general, but usually I'm up getting ready to go to the gym to swim. I'm not gonna swim today. I'm actually about to go start to plan my week. I think my week's gonna be a little bit topsy-turvy. So I wanna get in a workout today in order to offset the things that are happening this week. One of the big things happening this week for me is that I'm taking a writing workshop, a Black women's writing workshop with literary publication called Midnight and Indigo. I took a class last year with them that was around Octavia Butler, and so we explored her works, did some writing, did some talking. It was fantastic. I loved it. This workshop is very specific. It is a dialogue workshop about how to bring your characters to life through dialogue. And so there's gonna be a lot of dialogue in the novel that I'm writing, so I'm looking for any tips and tricks and all those things. And funny enough, I was reading last night, I'm still reading this book on Civil War and Black memory, and she brought up one of the canon events that will be featured in my novel, which is going to be historical fiction. So it's like, I feel like I'm getting all these signs to pushing me toward writing this book the way that I have envisioned it. And so I'm really wanting to get into the grunt work of putting my writing schedule this week. I gave myself the first week of January to reset, get my mind together, think about how I want to disengage from social media. And I have not given up social media completely. I'm still going to use it. I posted on my poll Instagram over the weekend. Well, over the weekend, meaning yesterday, Saturday. So it's like, I'm not giving it up. I'm just trying to limit my time on the app so that I can do other things like write and do things that need to be done in the house and just not sitting on the couch doom scrolling, all those things. So yeah, I am going to start to plan my day. I know I did most of my grocery shopping yesterday, but I know there's a couple things that I need to get. Also, I'm trying to be better about, like, I need to run to the store. Do you need to run to the store, Alicia? Do you really need to run to the store? No, you don't need to run to the store. You know, like, just spending money all willy-nilly-ish. So yeah, I'm gonna plan my Saturday. I put way too much. This vanilla bean syrup from Trader Joe's, I think I turned there you go, I'll focus off, is pretty good. So I don't know what's going on. Again, still not working this camera correctly, as you can see. Ridiculous. All right, so let me skedaddle, get this planning going for the week. I'm pretty sure I showed you my positive bullet diary or journal. It's like a monthly, daily, weekly thing. So I'm gonna get started on that. Okay, so the gym was absolutely insane. Like, it was packed today. And I guess it's because you know what, I don't go into workout on Sundays normally. So I think I don't know the flavor of the gym on Sundays. But also the Eagles play today. And so I think everybody's trying to get their workout in. Like, if I would have went before 11, I think I would have been fine, but like, everybody's trying to get their afternoon workout in before the Eagles game. So like a fool, I pulled up the Reading terminal. I already know what's popping in here because everybody's getting lunch, snacks, and all that, which is fine. But let me tell you, the last time I was in here, which was a couple weeks ago, and I do this every time I come here. I park in a parking garage and I get lost. Walking around the damn parking garage for 50 million zillion years. But guess what? We're not getting lost today. You want to know why we're not getting lost? Because I'm taking out my phone and I'm recording my steps. I'm taking pictures, I'm doing whatever I gotta do so I don't walk around here like an idiot. Okay? Let's go. Okay, so this is the parking garage. I'm going to record myself as I get on the elevator. And I'm probably gonna take a picture too, because this is how bad I am with this shit. Okay, so we're at level 3, red. Okay, and if I turn the corner, my car is parked up the ramp. Okay, so level 3, red. Elevator. This elevator has access to, where are we going? Here. Okay. 3rd floor. Remember where you park? Take a card. There's no card. Pushing the button. Okay, ground floor. We're actually going down. It's a lot of warnings. I don't know why the elevator opened again, but let's go down. Got to remember how I turned. Thank you. Okay. Out the elevator to the left. To the left.
Said she need a what. I can't keep up.
To the left. To the left. To the left. Which means I'm gonna come back down this street for which door to go out of when I'm coming out of Reading Terminal. So we're gonna figure out the door situation too.
Yeah, here make you follow procedure. Said she need a what. I can't keep up. She miss me and I gus. Can tell by how she stressed. Said she need a what. I can't keep.
Okay, I want y'all to see. I did it. Okay, I didn't get lost. Okay, got my parking validated and we are going home. Okay, I made it through the jungle. And by the jungle, meaning I made it to park, remembered where I parked at, got in Reading Terminal. Of course, I walked around in a circle because I can never remember where I'm going. As long as I've lived here and as many times I've been to Reading Terminal, I still get turned around. It doesn't help that they change, there's like new vendors in there, and depending on like if it's crowded or not, surprisingly it wasn't crowded. I was pretty shocked at that, but also the Amish markets, which are one of the most popular in there, they're not open on Sundays, and so Sundays tends to be fewer people. But I just knew because the game was on tonight that people would be in there still. There's still other places to eat and snack on, which I did way too much. I went in there for a couple things and I went bananas. I stopped at this Mexican spot. I got some things to store. So like I got the pickled red onions, which I love, and I'll put them on anything. Eggs, sandwiches, soups, salads. So like these are gonna get used. And also this is hella lazy because I know how to do this and I know how to make this and I could make it. But you know, I was already in there and these are gonna last me a while. I got those and then I got some chips. I'm actually going to make black bean soup today. So I'm like, oh, that'll be nice to have. And then of course I can't not get anything from their food vendor. And I've got the rice and a elote. Is it elote? I never know how to say that. Dip. So I'll have that as part of my dinner, and I'll have a salad. Actually, when I was at Wegmans yesterday, I bought like a Mexican salad kit. So I have that. And then, you know, you go to the gym and then you go buy cookies because balance. I've got some cookies from 4th Street Cookie. You know what? Everybody loves these cookies, and I don't I like them. They are not my favorite. They don't make my favorite chocolate chip cookie in the city. There's a brother named Daryl who has a bakery. He makes my favorite chocolate chip cookie in the city. But I still, since I was in there, chocolate chip. I'm not even gonna eat this. Macadamia. And my favorite, which is the peanut butter. So I got those. Again, I should have only got one because I really don't even have a taste for cookies right now. But like I said, I was already in there, so I'm like, well, why not? And then I got some sourdough bread for my breakfast this week. And then I've started eating meat again. And by eating meat, I mean chicken. So I got these chicken buffalo burgers. Because Reading Terminal, they have like butchers there. So I got that. And then I got, Danish. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Sabotage. I got turkey bacon. Hot chicken link. And they had a turkey andouille sausage, New Orleans style, which I know is probably like, what? But yeah, so that's what I got. Oh, and I got a coffee since I was in there, to Old City Coffee. So yeah, that's what I got. I'm gonna put this stuff up. I was gonna rush and make dinner before I go to class, but I decided I want to chill. And I'm gonna make something to eat, which I don't know what that's gonna be right now. I'm actually just sitting here thinking. I have some salmon, these salmon burgers I bought from Wegmans last night. So I think I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna work on my Substack post. I'm gonna do some reading, and then I'm gonna go to class. I'm gonna come back. I'm going to make my dinner. I'm actually gonna jump into some emails before work because this week is gonna be very busy, and I just feel more prepared. I'm actually thinking, I did a pretty hard workout today. It was packed up in that gym, like I mentioned before. And so I did basically kettlebells, and then I did 30 minutes on the Stairmaster. I started at level 5. By the time I was finished, I did 1 minute of level 10, but I just gradually increased until I get to my highest at 1 minute. So yeah, I am not a fan of cardio now that I've been lifting weights religiously the past couple years. I've got this Peloton in here that I do not use, but I know that I need to get my cardio in because I can feel how winded I am when I'm dancing and just in general. And so I just need to balance it. And for my heart health, I used to love cardio. It used to be my way to like decompress, but the weights have been doing that for me. And so I kind of fell off of it, but I am going to get in the shower and I'm going to relax. I'm probably going to turn on one of my favorite podcasts, or maybe even watch a YouTube video and write my Substack post. So yeah, toodles. Hello, good people, and happy Tuesday. No. Today is Monday. Woo! Today is Monday. Okay, so pretty productive day. So this morning I went to the gym. I said I wasn't going to go to the gym this morning, and of course got up like clockwork. And it's mostly because yesterday I ended up going to the gym, which I don't normally do. As you guys see, I went over to Reading Terminal, and then I went to pole class. And then after I came back from pole class, so I said I was gonna cook after, and you know what? That did not happen. I ended up getting home in time to catch the last half of the Eagles game, which they lost. And I heard that loss from the street and my neighbors screaming. People were beeping their horns in anger. And then, of course, I heard my neighbors screaming, which I rarely hear my neighbors at all. Like, it's very, very rare. So you know that scream was like hella loud. So I did that. And then like I got in the shower, and I was too pooped to cook dinner, like to really cook, so make the soup. So I just made the black beans. I did the rice that I had purchased, some tortilla chips. I basically made some nachos. Okay, let's just put it like that. And so just making it easy. And then I ended up staying up late to watch the Patriots and Chargers game, which I had told my homegirl, I was like, I'm gonna regret this, but that was a nice hate watch because I don't like Harbaugh. Okay, don't like the Harbaugh brothers. Period. Okay, so there's that, but anyway, I got up like clockwork for the most part. I went later than I normally do, but I got in a pretty good workout. I actually did a walk today. I actually did some cardio. So I did about a 40-minute full body, 20 minutes on the treadmill, clap funny, because your girl hates cardio. So I did that. It was a really busy work day, so I worked, of course. And during my lunch break, I actually went to see the new esthetician, which I really like her. Now, she is a little, her recommendations were very different, than my dermatologist. And I know that they sometimes have they're not always going to be on the same page. And I get that. She doesn't think I needed to increase my dosage of tretinoin. So I am probably going to stay on the tretinoin. She doesn't think I should be using azelaic acid. We actually went through and I purchased a couple products. This one is a vitamin C that she recommended. She recommended a moisturizer and then a different sunscreen because the Supergoop formula changed, and I think that's why I've been having some breakouts. And then this gel. So I did buy a few things from her. She's told me she's not the type that expects me to come once a month. She doesn't, think it's always necessary to come in for facials once a month, which is actually I like. So I really, she listened to all my concerns, like top to bottom. And she kind of recommended these products. She said she doesn't want to see me for another couple weeks. She wants to see how these work. And then I'll come in a couple weeks and we're probably going to do microneedling. Like I said in my last video, this is my vanity year. I am doing what needs to be done to make myself feel better. And then later on this week, I'm going to get my laser hair removal consult. So we're going to get that out of the way. But what I really wanted to talk about is my writing practice. This week is getting into the motions of writing. So I mentioned before that I joined the Well Read Black Girls Substack group for writers. And last week there was a writing prompt that I have been using pretty much all week, and just to write out my feelings. And the writing prompt is, what happens when I stop waiting to feel ready? So every day I've kind of written under that box, okay? And then today she pushed out a post with a couple different prompts. One was, I give myself permission to blank. And then the other prompt was to write the story, or write the first paragraph of the story you've been wanting to write. And so I did that with my book. And I'm ready. It's been time. Funny enough, last week I saw a quote from a Toni Morrison quote about memory. Funny enough, once again, I'm reading this book called Unforgettable Sacrifice: How Black Communities Remember the Civil War. And it's all about memory, and how important memory is to shaping Black people's history, writing it down, getting it right, all of those things, and how dedicated Black folks were, Black men and women, to remembering the Civil War, remembering the people who fought in the Civil War. So I just feel like there are a lot of different signs. And in this book, funny enough, once again, the event that is a big part of my novel was mentioned in this book. And so I feel like there's just so much confirmation from the cosmos that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so, it's time to get to it. So this week is really about nailing down my, writing progress. And I went ahead, that Toni Morrison quote, I actually started printing it out, came from a talk she did called The Sight of Memory. And there's some really good pages in here that I'm gonna print out and tape to my wall. Like one page in particular, I'm gonna tape because I want to use this as some inspiration for me to keep going. So this week we are writing. We are scheduling time. I scheduled time for myself today. I did my prompts. I started that first paragraph. I've got writing scheduled through the week. So this week we're writing, y'all. We are writing this week. I need to get out of my own head and I need to get to it. So we'll see where I end up at the end of the week. I think one of the things that I'm trying to like get into my head is that I am so routine oriented. Like I wake up at the same time every day, go to the gym for the most part at the same time every day. Being routine oriented helps my anxiety. And as much as I want to write this book, fitting it into a routine that I already feel safe and secure with is what's giving me anxiety, if that makes sense. Like it's kind of wow. Like I am wanting to get this thing done, wanting to write, wanting to get this book drafted, but I'm struggling with fitting it into the routine that I've built for myself that feels safe for me. So it's going to take some moving, some jimmying, some shaking, but I'm really just trying to get this ish done. So that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to fit this into our life. I'm going to fit this into my life because this is what I want to do. A muscle that I need massage. And I'm not going to get it done if I don't. So that's what's on the agenda. So we'll see how much I get done. It is Tuesday morning. I got up pretty earlier than I needed to be. I actually have a gym session with my trainer at 7:30. But last night before I got in bed, I went ahead and printed out the Toni Morrison piece that I was talking about called The Sight of Memory. I took it to bed with me. I did a little bit of reading in bed. I have, excuse me, it's early. Coffee. I took it with me to bed. I had read most of it online. I need to be able to write in the margins. Like I do that with my books. A lot of times I have a notebook next to me while I'm writing, and then I use my iPad to sort of annotate as well. And so, and actually I like to have a little bit of music going depending on what I'm reading, because I've read this before. Music with words is fine. Sometimes I just need like just the notes. But anywho, I decided to get up and do a little bit of reading. I feel like this essay here is gonna be it's gonna be something I come back to over and over again as I start to write this book. The thing that struck me most in this is a part where she talks about, in general, she's talking about how there are similarities between a memoir as well and a fiction writer. Memoir is working off of memory, the memory of their lives. Someone who's writing a novel, like Toni Morrison did, you're working off memory of your ancestors, and then you're working from your imagination to sort of fill in the blanks. She is calling it the interior life. And so thinking about like my writing process and what I'm writing, I'm taking a true story of the Parker sisters and I am filling in the interior life. There are things that I know about them from newspapers, from nonfiction books that were written, from talks that I'm seeing on YouTube, family stories, porch stories, like what Hillary Green talks about in Unforgettable Sacrifice, where she talks about like there's great to have newspapers, but what about the things that Black folks talked about their family history sitting on the porch. Like all of that is a source. As much as a book is a source, as much as a newspaper is a source, a journal article, a television show, the porch stories, the things coming out of our mouths, the things we pass on are important as well. And so what Toni Morrison is talking about in her writing is that she uses the memoir or the memories that folks have, but her job is to fill in the stuff in the middle. And I really love the way she's talking about it here. What makes it fiction is the nature of the imaginative act. My reliance on the image, on the remains, in addition to recollection, to yield up a kind of truth. It's gonna be really important to me. And also, there's a Toni Morrison quote, book, life event, talk for everything, because that's what Toni did. That's what Toni did. And you know, there's a lot of talk about Toni and her being difficult both as a writer and as a person. And Toni is not my favorite. J. California Cooper and Octavia Butler, those two are my favorites. However, Toni Morrison doesn't need to be my favorite in order for me to understand what she means to Black women, what she means to Black history, and what she means to literature. Sometimes I think we sort of like jumble up needing to like everything about a figure, a person, a writer, in order to validate their importance. And Toni Morrison unequivocally, like, of course there are things that you can say that you didn't like about her or about her work, but overall, how important she is to Black literature and Black women, it's, you can't, like, how can you argue with that? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, she ain't my favorite. I have not read every Toni Morrison book, and there are a few that I have never gotten through, like Beloved. Ain't never finished Beloved. Ain't never finished it. I have tried. It don't work for me, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? That is okay. But she's important. So I'm going to staple this. I'm probably going to print out that exact page and hang it on my wall. But I am going to use this as a bit of a guide. And I need to get myself together. I was going to do some journaling, but I don't have enough time. So I'll see y'all later. Okay, riddle me this. Why is it when I'm set to cut my hair off next week, does my hair start acting right? Why is it? Why am I having a good hair day as I am scrolling looking for Big Chop pictures? Riddle me that, friends. Riddle me that. Anyway, it is Thursday. Work has been a lot this week, and that's all I'm gonna say, because talk about work is why we talk about work. So that's one. So about this week's writing and writing goals. So I was able to get a little bit of writing done, like my opener done. I wrote it on paper, so I need to translate that over to my computer. What I've also been doing is like watching a lot of YouTube videos about writing historical fiction and taking some tips from folks. And one of the things that quite a few people are saying, which I get, which is where I'm at in this writing journey, is that you get so worked up about the details of your time period that you don't write. So that's been part of my problem, and I know I need to get over it. Something else, so I talked a little bit about like the digital versus the analog thing, and I am analog for a lot of things, and I need to get digital in the way that will help me get this book written from a historical and research standpoint. So one tip that I got from a YouTube video was to and I know this, is to plot out my timeline. And in the past video that I have, you can see that I'm charting out my timeline on paper with sticky notes. I can't, I have to get it digitized. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to work on this weekend, is I'm going to digitize my timeline. What I'm likely going to do is I'm going to keep it simple, because the more I start to like add technology and things into the mix, it gets me away from doing the work. So I'm going to create a Word document with separate tabs, because I'm running through about 3 separate timelines from 1833 to 1863. I'm mostly concentrating on the 63 era, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Word doc, a Google Doc. I'm going to have, my hands are so ashy. I'm going to, and of course my lotion, oh, here it is. I'm going to create a Word doc, and each tab is going to be a timeline, because I've written this timeline down and important dates down, and it's just not easy to access. Like, that's where I'll have to say to myself, Alicia, what will serve you well digitally, and what will serve you well from a analog. And analog is just going to be little ideas. Get the ideas down here and there. They're easy to translate to digital. And then when it comes to the pen to paper, the writing, the outlining and all that, it's got to be digital. So I am saying this out loud because, of course, I'm going to watch this video while I'm editing. So I can do that. So I'm going to have my timeline broken out by tabs and my characters broken out by tabs. Like, they're going to be, the 2 sisters are going to be the character, but I'm also going to be introducing some sub characters. And so that needs to be from a digital standpoint. So that's what I'm going to do. Also, I'm going to reach out to a couple people that I know here in Philly, and a couple people that I know have been in the process of writing books, and writing, and who are in school. Woo, it got dark quick, son. And see if they want to be writing buddies. And like, we don't need to sit, like, sitting together in silence type of thing. Like, I don't want, because we need to get stuff done. So I'm going to do that. That's on my agenda for today. I have an appointment to talk about laser hair removal, which I'm going to do this afternoon. And then I've got pole this evening. I'm supposed to have lunch with a friend tomorrow, but the way work has been going, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull away to do lunch away from home. So I'm going to hit her up and see if maybe she wants to do something this weekend. But I have my writing class on Saturday with Midnight and Indigo, which is a Black literary publication. It's a class on the art of dialogue. There's going to be quite a bit of dialogue in here in my novel, I think, which I'm not even a big dialogue person when it comes to reading, but a lot of this is going to be built around relationships. So yeah, anywho, it's Thursday. I'll probably pick you guys up. I don't know if I'm going to film in the dermatologist's office. But yeah, I will absolutely talk to you guys later. Okay, hello, happy Friday. I don't think I picked up the camera since yesterday, but it is Friday evening. I am done work. I am pouring my glass of fake alcohol. Today's non-alcoholic beverage is sponsored by Reed's Craft Ginger Zero Sugar Ginger Ale. Did I say that already? Ginger ale, whatever. Anywho, work's done. I went and got my lashes done. I stopped to get a bite to eat. And now I have straightened up for the most part. I still need to finish the bedroom. I'm actually doing some laundry. And now I am at my desk. So what I have planned for this evening is, I need to do a little bit of editing because I still haven't gotten the video up from last week. I'm going to do that. The carbonation. Ooh. What? I don't know. I got into zero sugar Reed's Ginger Ale, and it's not bad. And I haven't gone back to the original, so I guess there's that. But I am going to do some outlining. Like I mentioned before, one of the tips I got from someone who, from watching a YouTube video on tips for writing historical fiction mentioned getting the timeline down. Now, I had originally, let me grab it. Things. Oh my God, I have been looking for this to charge my sweeper, my handheld. And here it is right here. Honestly, I really need to go through this. My office, it's a little bit of a mess, but whatever. This is real life, y'all. I don't know that I'm the aesthetically pleasing YouTube person for you, because, child, whatever. There's stuff all up in this corner that I need to take care of, and I just haven't, because life. But in a previous iteration, I had drafted out this timeline and put it on poster board, the sticky notes. Hindsight is 2020. Remember I was talking about like the analog versus the digital thing? Yeah, this ain't working. This ain't working. So I'm basically want to spend part of the night transferring the analog to digital. Like we're just having a baby here, a book baby, and I need to use both. No shame in that. I like pen to paper, and I understand where the digital part is very useful. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do some editing. I have my first writing class with, well, no, it's not my first one. I took a writing class with Midnight at Indigo for an Octavia Butler workshop, who Octavia Butler is my fave. But this is going to be more of a writing workshop. This is going to be about writing dialogue. So that's one of the things I want to do in 2026 is be more in community with the people who are doing the things that I like to do, like write. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to go to pole. I've been like debating on going to pole or just going to the gym, because pole is at 10, 11. My class starts at 12, so I'll be rushing back here, but I don't think that's a big deal. So we'll see how I feel in the morning. I didn't sleep well last night, and I'm feeling it. Like my body and my mind. But anyway, I am going to put some music on and get to going. So I mentioned about my timeline. So my characters, the book starts in 1833. Okay, the book starts in 1833. And most of the time it's going to be split in the 1850 to 1851 to 1853. That's the bulk of the book. I'm really still thinking about the end. I know where I'm starting. I know the middle part is New Orleans in 1850 to 1851 to 1853. And then they're going to go back to Chester County. So we're traveling in time here, and that's also going to be something to try to keep together. So but yeah, let me get to it, because most of these notes that I made, honestly, will transfer digitally well, because I took some pretty decent notes here. So let's do that. Okay, hello, happy Saturday. I am getting myself together for my writing class. I just got back from pole. I decided to go to pole this morning, and that worked out really well because the class was really, really good. But I'm logging into this writing course with Midnight Indigo, which is a Black women's writing group. And my camera, of course, is not set up right. So let me do that. I'm starving, and oh my gosh, I think I left my water in the other room. Hold on. Got my coffee. I made a quick snack plate from a bunch of things in my cabinet. So smoked trout, these Trader Joe's trail mix crackers, pita crackers, olives, cheese, garlic spread, and what is this? Pepper jelly. It was like a mad dash to leave the studio. It was snowing. Well, it wasn't snowing on my side. It wasn't snowing on the Jersey side, but definitely as soon as I got into Philly, it started to snow. What am I doing? I'm trying to find the class info. Okay, here it is. Okay, so we have our first writing prompt in this workshop, and I don't know if I said, but the workshop is about writing dialogue, and it's something that's going to be really important to my story, of course, because I'm using a young girl as my main character, but also because this book is going to be set in between 1833 to 1853. So this is a 20-year span, but also just a really important, I think you guys are cricket, point in history, and the dialogue matters. So the first prompt we have is choose two characters from existing media or from a project you're working on. They've just met on a blind date at an Italian restaurant. What do they talk about? How do they reveal details about themselves? Just write the dialogue alone without accompanying actions. This first draft will look like a script. So my characters are set where there is no Italian restaurant. So I'm going to write in the setting that I'm at and them meeting at a restaurant in New Orleans in 1851. So let me do that. Discussing that prompt along with another excerpt. And so the second prompt is take your character at the blind date and intersperse some actions between their conversation. How are they interacting with the environment and or the people in the space? So I'm going to do that with my characters. Sorry y'all. We're on our third prompt. This one is, what does each character want? Their external motivation from this conversation. Write that at the top of the page. What do they really want? What is their internal desire from this conversation? Write that down at the top of the page. Now go back through the conversation and make edits where you can highlight these motivations. Do their actions between dialogue change? How confident or shy do they become? I absolutely love this. One of the things I'm really enjoying about these prompts is that writing the dialogue without any of the internal monologue is refreshing, and it allows me to think about what my characters need to convey without them saying it. And it's really stroking some ideas about who my main character, right now her name is Rachel. I think I'm going to change the name, but right now her name is Rachel. So yeah, I love this prompt. Okay, that was amazing. That was amazing. That was the juice that I needed. Also gave me like some really cool ideas about, like I said, I've been struggling with this being historical fiction and how I need to make sure that my characters are using the right dialect. But I realized something, I had an epiphany that I can use dialect and dialogue as part of the plot. So I think I want to explore that a little bit. But yeah, you know, this week has been about me trying to figure out what my writing routine is going to look like and exercising writing a bone. And I haven't done as much writing as I've wanted to, but I knew that this workshop was coming up and I knew that it would help put me on a path forward. Well, I suspected that it would, and it did. And so I'm in a really good place. Weirdly enough, I'm starting not to feel good right now. I'm hoping I'm not getting a cold or something, but like my body is aching just a little bit. So I'm gonna try to get ahead of that and take something like a cold and flu. Like I said, it's just achy. My body is achy. And it also can be that I polled, I don't know how many times this week. And that's part of it. But also, I ain't trying to get sick out here at all. So I'm going to go with my first mind and take care of myself. So yeah, it's 2:00. It is snowing here in Philly, or it was snowing. So it's icky outside. I think I need to eat something. I think, girl dinner is just, I need to eat a real meal. So I am going to take a, yeah, that was amazing. Again, this was with a Black women's writing group called Midnight at Indigo. Another thing that I'm doing is I canceled a lot of my subscription services, like my, I still have Netflix, but I canceled like HBO Max and a couple other ones. And instead, in exchange for canceling those, I'm going to subscribe to a few literary magazines. And so it's like, get rid of the digital stuff, and spending the money on things that I'm passionate about, that I want to support from the arts and all that. So I think I'm gonna, I don't know if Midnight at Indigo has a subscription. I think this is by episode, like by volume, but they do publish a literary magazine. Also, I think I'm gonna put on my list to try to submit something to their magazine this year. It won't be this month, but it'll be this year. So yeah, all in all, that was time very, 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 very well spent. So I'm excited. I'm happy. This was good. This was good. Hello. It's still Saturday, but I'm coming back post my writing class. Took a shower. I have some food in the oven. And today just feels like the perfect Saturday, at least for me, which is I got up, I worked out, went to pole class, which is considered my workout, came home, jumped on the Zoom call for my writing class, got a little bit of writing done. The ideas are flowing, so that feels great. And now I am on the couch watching the NFL playoffs, and I have my book here, which I will be finishing today. And then I'm gonna pick out my next book, which likely is gonna be fiction. I'm gonna pick something from my shelf. I have 3 nonfiction books that I picked up from the library. I think 2 I'm going to renew and 1 I'm just gonna let go of. But I'm reading nonfiction right now, and I feel like I need some fiction in my life. So we'll see what happens. An update. So I have been tracing my family history for a long time, on and off for 6-7 years. I've hit so many dead walls on both sides of the family. Particularly my mother's side is extremely rough because none of my grandmother's siblings are alive anymore. And that side of the family even when they were alive, you couldn't get anything out of them about their childhood. Like, the trauma is real. So there's that. On my dad's side, my grandmother's sister, so my great aunt, is still alive. She was on my brain. I actually talked to her a couple years ago. And so she was on my brain. So I looked up her information just to see if she was still living, and she is. She's 91 years old. So I think somebody go to Facebook. So I went to Facebook to see if she was on Facebook, and she is on Facebook. Looking through her posts in the comments, I'm seeing people whose last names are the same as mine commenting. And so I just reached out to one of them and sent a Facebook message, and said, hey, Helen is my great aunt. I'm wondering if we're related. And she was like, yes, we are related. Her grandfather is my Helen's as well as my grandmother's brother. So her mother is the niece of Aunt Helen. And so that was a little bit of a breakthrough today. I'm trying to get more information about my grandmother's parents. One has my great grandmother has a very unisex name, Willie. And so just trying to find information about them, it's just been tough. What I can surmise based on like the time frame is that both of them were either enslaved or right after slavery they grew up. So I am just really, really curious. That side of the family is from Alabama. So I am very, very curious to try to trace back as far as I can. It's just, as you know, anyone who has done research their family tree or into genealogy, it is a very like taxing process, because especially for Black Americans, it's very likely that you're going to hit a wall at some point. So part of me wanting to research my family history is just, of course, you know, selfishly for myself, is a selfish thing, like it's for me, but also like part of me writing this book, I'm really interested in my real characters and their lives and tracing their history. So yeah, their family members are still alive. I've been thinking about reaching out to them. You know, the book isn't written, you know, I'm hesitant to do that, but also I know I could do some background research on my own, so I'm doing that. But yeah, so today is a good day. Today looks like a great Sunday for somebody like me who likes to read and write and research and just chill. It's freezing outside. I'm just not good about going out in the cold. Like if it wasn't for pole, I wouldn't be going outside. And I actually signed up to go to an event today, and I was like, I'm just not going. I don't even know why I wasted my money. One, I knew the playoffs were going to be on, so why did you think you were actually going to want to go outside, Alicia? Yeah, it's like 30-something degrees outside too. So that's another reason not to be out in these streets. But yeah, I'm going to chill. Maybe I'll come back and let you guys know what fiction that I picked. I gave my reading goal a goal of 30 books, so I kind of need to finish a couple books this month to stay on track. And yeah, it's a nice, easy Saturday, which means I should get some good sleep tonight.